This morning, as I stood by the window sipping my tea, watching the golden light fall gently on the front yard, I couldn't help but think about how the small choices we make, especially after 70, can quietly shape the rest of our lives. Not in dramatic ways, but in the quiet moments. The skipped walk, the phone call we didn't return, the doctor's appointment we thought could wait. And slowly, without realizing it, we trade our strength for stillness, our laughter for silence, and our independence for quiet resignation. If you've ever paused in the middle of your day and thought, "I never imagined getting older would feel like this," then this video is for you. We're going to talk not about aging in the abstract, but about you and the 5 common mistakes that so many good, thoughtful people make in their later years. Not out of neglect, but often out of habit, fear, or just not knowing there's a better way. So I invite you to stay with me, to reflect deeply. And if anything I say today resonates with you, type the number 1 in the comments below. And don't hesitate to share your own experience. You're not alone in this. And the best part is, it's never too late to start choosing differently. Sometimes it doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in slowly, like a soft fog settling over your mornings. One day, you're out watering the garden or walking down to the mailbox. And before you know it, even standing up from your favorite chair feels heavier than it used to. You tell yourself it's just age, that slowing down is normal after 70. And while it's true our bodies do change, what many of us don't realize is that the true weight we carry often comes from the things we've stopped doing, not from age itself. Losing physical strength, flexibility, or balance isn't simply a result of getting older. It's the quiet cost of letting movement slip away. And that's something we can do something about. I've seen it in people I love. Friends who used to walk every evening now choosing the recliner instead, saying they're just tired, when really their bodies are missing the small rhythms they once relied on. And I've felt it in myself too. Those mornings when the joints feel stiffer and it seems easier to rest than to rise. But each day we choose stillness over motion. Our muscles gently begin to let go. Our bones quietly weaken, and our confidence starts to waver, especially when walking alone or navigating stairs becomes something we second-guess. What was once routine begins to feel risky, and that risk leads us to retreat even more. And yet there's good news woven into this quiet truth, because if we have the power to drift into decline through inaction, we also have the power to reclaim strength through small, steady steps. You don't need to train like an athlete or join a gym full of strangers. Sometimes all it takes is 10 minutes a day, a gentle walk around the block, some simple stretches while the kettle boils, a few minutes of chair yoga as the morning news plays in the background. Motion doesn't have to be grand to be powerful. It just has to be consistent and kind to your body. Because motion, as they say, is lotion. It keeps your joints oiled, your heart engaged, your breath steady, and your spirit awake. And while movement is key, nourishment walks beside it. As we age, our bodies require not less but more care, more quality in our meals, more protein to preserve muscle, more fiber to keep digestion smooth, more hydration to keep everything flowing. And when it comes to health, waiting until something hurts isn't a plan, it's a gamble. Regular checkups, even when we feel fine, are acts of protection, not fear. They help us catch what we cannot feel: blood pressure, bone loss, cholesterol, things that often whisper before they roar. So if any of this speaks to you, if you felt that quiet fading and thought, maybe this is just how it goes, I want to gently suggest, maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe your strength isn't behind you, it's still waiting for you to return. And while tending to the body helps us stand tall, it's the heart that keeps us truly alive. And too often, it's this part that quietly starts to shrink when we drift into isolation. Sometimes we don't even notice it at first. The phone rings less. We skip a gathering because it's raining. We tell ourselves we're just tired or that others must be busy. Before long, the days grow quieter, the calendar emptier, and silence starts to settle not only around us, but within us. For many older adults, especially in a culture like ours that values independence so deeply, loneliness doesn't come all at once. It arrives slowly, wearing the disguise of solitude. But there's a difference between enjoying your own company and slowly fading from the lives that once kept you connected. I've known folks who moved into a smaller home after retirement, excited for peace and privacy, only to discover that too much quiet can become a kind of weight. You wake up and realize the only voice you've heard all day is the one on the television. You make a cup of tea, but it doesn't taste the same when there's no one across the table. And though you might still be active, reading, watching, keeping busy, something softer, something more human, feels missing. That's because connection isn't a luxury in old age, it's a lifeline. When we stop engaging, when we stop reaching out, our emotional well-being begins to dim, and with it, often our memory, our sharpness, and our will to stay active. But here's what I hope you hold on to. It doesn't take a crowd to feel connected, it just takes intention. One call, one letter, one warm invitation to a neighbor for morning coffee. Staying connected doesn't mean attending every event or becoming the life of the party. It means gently refusing to let yourself drift into silence. You don't need dozens of friends. You need a few people who remember your laugh, who ask how you're really doing, and who feel a little more grounded just by being near you. Even if your loved ones are far away, there are ways to bring them closer. Technology may seem intimidating at first, but it's often simpler than we fear. A phone that can make a video call, a message that arrives with a photo of your grandchild's new puppy, a group chat where your voice, your stories still matter. Learning something new isn't about catching up with the world, it's about staying rooted in it, with your wisdom intact. And if you've been feeling alone lately, I want to gently remind you, connection doesn't expire, it doesn't age out, the door is still open. Your life, your presence, your laughter, they're still needed in the world around you. And somewhere, someone's day will be made better just by hearing your voice. So maybe today's the day to pick up the phone or open the door and let warmth find its way back in. After we've talked about caring for the body and nurturing our connections, there's something just as vital that deserves our quiet attention: the inner world, the mind, and the purpose that gives each day its shape. For many people, especially after retirement, there's an unexpected emptiness that slowly begins to settle in. You no longer have a schedule built around work, or children to raise, or goals marked by calendars and deadlines. At first, the slower pace may feel peaceful, even welcome, but over time, when there's nothing calling you forward, nothing to look forward to, you may start to feel like you're simply passing time instead of living it. And that shift, gentle as it may seem, can affect everything: your mood, your memory, even your physical health. I remember once sitting beside a man who had been a master craftsman for decades. His hands, once full of tools and wood shavings, were now still resting on the arms of a recliner. He looked out the window and said, "I just don't know what I'm useful for anymore." That sentence stayed with me, because the truth is, usefulness doesn't retire, growth doesn't retire, and most importantly, you don't retire from having value. The feeling of being needed, of having something meaningful to contribute, doesn't belong only to the young. It belongs to anyone who still has breath, thought, and heart to offer. Sometimes the mistake we make in older age isn't stopping work, it's stopping wonder. It's assuming that learning belongs to the past. But the mind is a living thing, just like the body. It needs exercise, it needs curiosity, and it thrives on being challenged gently, not with pressure or performance, but with purpose. Picking up a book, solving a puzzle, writing down your memories, learning something new, these aren't just hobbies, they are lifelines. They keep the brain engaged and the spirit feeling alive. And even more powerful than keeping your mind sharp is keeping it meaningful. Because when we lose a sense of purpose, we don't just feel bored, we start to fade. Purpose can take many shapes. It might be mentoring a younger neighbor, or teaching a grandchild to cook, or even volunteering one afternoon a week at the library or senior center. Sometimes it's as small as tending a garden, or making a call to someone who needs to hear your voice. It's not the size of the action, it's the fact that it matters to someone, including you. Purpose is what gives us reason to get up, to stretch our thoughts, to stay connected not only to others but to ourselves. So if lately you've felt like the days are all blending into one, or you've questioned what your place is in this stage of life, I want you to consider this. Maybe the most meaningful chapter of your story hasn't been written yet. And maybe what the world needs most right now is not someone younger, but someone like you, wiser, seasoned, and still curious enough to keep growing. And as we continue reflecting on what truly supports our happiness and health in later life, there's one quiet challenge that many of us face, but rarely name out loud. It's the silent resistance to change. Not because we're stubborn or unwilling, but simply because change, especially rapid change, can feel overwhelming. After living for decades with a certain rhythm, a certain way of doing things, it's only natural to feel hesitant when the world around us seems to shift faster than we can keep up. Yet what often starts as hesitation can slowly turn into avoidance, and that avoidance can quietly disconnect us from a world that still very much needs us in it. I've sat across from elders who once led teams, taught students, and ran households, and now feel unsure how to open a text message or join a video call. It's not a matter of intelligence or capacity, it's a matter of confidence and relevance. When the tools and language of connection change and we don't feel part of that shift, it's easy to tell ourselves, it's just not for me. But the truth is, adapting doesn't mean changing who you are. It means finding new ways to stay connected to what matters: your family, your independence, your daily joy. Because the less we engage with the tools that shape today's world, the easier it is to feel invisible inside it. Technology is just one piece. The real issue lies deeper in how we view ourselves in the face of change. Do we believe we can still grow? Do we trust that we're capable of learning something new, even now? I've seen the way a face lights up when a grandfather finally joins a family video chat. I've seen the sense of pride when a woman in her 70s orders her groceries online for the first time. These aren't just small victories, they're moments of reclaiming autonomy, and they remind us that we don't age out of relevance, not unless we choose to. And yes, change isn't limited to devices or apps. It's in the way younger generations speak, the cultural shifts, the habits and norms that feel unfamiliar. But instead of meeting these things with frustration or dismissal, what if we met them with curiosity? What if, instead of saying, things were better back then, we asked, what can I still learn from now? Because your presence in this world isn't accidental, and your voice still has a place in every conversation, whether around the dinner table or in a digital room. So if part of you has been holding back, quietly telling yourself that change isn't worth the trouble, I want to gently invite you to reconsider. Not because you need to catch up, but because staying connected, emotionally, mentally, and socially, requires us to remain open. The world will continue to move, but you still have the strength and wisdom to move with it at your pace, in your way, with your values intact. And as we near the final part of this reflection, let's gently talk about something many of us carry with quiet worry, yet often keep to ourselves: the role of money in our peace of mind. After retirement, when income becomes fixed and routines shift, many older adults find themselves uncertain, not just about how much they have, but how long it will last. At first, things may seem stable. You've saved, you've downsized, the bills are covered. But over time, little things add up. Unexpected medical costs, helping out family, buying gifts for the grandkids, or simply living as you always have. And then one day, you look at the numbers and feel the ground beneath. You soften. It's not always a crisis. Sometimes it's just a slow, silent slide that catches you off guard. I've listened to friends, honest, thoughtful, generous people, tell me they didn't realize how fast their savings were shrinking until it too was already happening. They weren't careless, they simply didn't adjust. They gave, they bought, they believed there was time. And for many, there was also a quiet fear of looking at the details too closely, as if avoiding the numbers might somehow protect them from the reality. But financial well-being in old age isn't just about security, it's about dignity. It's about independence, and it's about having choices, not just necessities. When our finances feel unstable, so does everything else. Our healthcare decisions, our home life, even the way we participate in our communities. And while it's true that not everyone has the same access or resources, what we do share is the ability to be mindful. That starts with being honest with ourselves, with someone we trust, or with a professional who can help us see clearly. Creating a simple budget doesn't mean giving up joy. It means protecting it. Knowing what goes out and what comes in gives you the power to make decisions based on awareness, not fear. And in today's world, where seniors are increasingly targeted by scams, staying informed is not just helpful, it's essential. That friendly voice on the phone offering free medical equipment or that urgent email from a fake grandchild may sound convincing, but it's okay to pause, to verify, to say no. Protecting what you've built isn't selfish, it's wise. But perhaps most importantly, financial mindfulness helps you say yes to the things that matter most. Whether that's a short trip with a friend, a small gift for a birthday, or simply the comfort of knowing you won't need to rely on others for help you didn't plan for, managing your money with care is a quiet act of strength. And if you've made mistakes before, overspent, trusted the wrong person, forgot to plan, it's never too late to start again. Every small step forward still counts. So if this part of life has felt overwhelming or uncertain, I want you to know that clarity is within reach. You are not behind, you are not alone, and you still have time to make decisions that honor the life you've built and the peace you deserve to protect. As we close this gentle conversation, I hope you found something here that speaks to your heart. A quiet reminder, perhaps, that aging doesn't mean fading, and that your choices still matter more than you think. Whether it's taking a short walk, calling an old friend, learning something new, or simply reviewing your monthly budget, small steps can create a better life after 70, one that's healthier, fuller, and more independent. If any of these reflections reminded you of your own experience or someone you care about, I invite you to share your story in the comments below. Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today, and if this video helped you see things more clearly, consider passing it on to a friend or family member who might need the same. Because living well in old age isn't just about avoiding mistakes, it's about continuing to grow, connect, and live with quiet strength. Every single day,